Hello friends, how are you doing today? If you're new here, I'm excited to meet you, and if you're returning, I hope you're having a much better day than the last time we talked. In this video, we are doing a reading from Shadow, just wanting to see what Shadow wants to come forth and say. I want to remind you that the Shadow part of you is the part of you that absolutely loves you and cares about you, and is the only part of you that truly remembers the more authentic person that you are underneath all the coding that society has put on you, all the beliefs and thoughts. Your Shadow remembers everything, and it also remembers who you are at your heart. So let's go ahead and let's dive in and find out what it is that Shadow wants you to know. Also just going to remind you that yes, obviously this reading involves shadow work, but also intuitive messages along with my tarot and oracle cards. So what is our message from our Shadow? Okay, those three were nice and tight. One more card, please. Or not. Okay. I was like, or not. And here we go. Dark Night of the Soul. Life brings new meaning. Dark Night of the Soul is not something easy to go through, but it is a necessary thing to go through. Dark Night of the Soul, to me, I know I give this metaphor a lot, but it's like when you plant a seed, okay? You crack out of your shell, and then you have to like crest right before you get like through the dirt. And that is like one of the toughest parts for the seedling to actually get through. So whenever I feel like I'm going through a dark night of soul, and this is why I have this metaphor, because I've gone through many of them myself, it always reminds me of like that extra push that you have to get through to crest through the dirt in order to see the sunlight. Because the dark night of the soul is you being asked to purge, to let go, to see yourself in an authentic and true way, and see what is no longer serving you, and understand that the things that are no longer serving you might be part of an identity that you've been wearing for a long time. But you're being asked to shed those things. You're being asked to let go of those things, so that way you can get that much closer to the sun. The sun meaning the authentic you, the real you, the true you at your heart. And the sun can also mean divine, universe, spirit, God, like Christian God, whatever you believe in, God, goddess. But Dark Night of the Soul is that push. It's that breakthrough. Literally, breakthrough. You break through. So, like the visual of, the seedling breaking through the dirt is what I'm getting at here. And it's Dark Night of the Soul isn't going to last forever. Mine typically lasted 24 hours. Every once in a while I'd have one that lasted 48. Most of them don't last more than 72 hours. But the truth is this is a temporary phase for growth, but a very necessary phase for growth. And the card even says, life brings new meaning. The reason why it brings new meaning is because after you go through this transition, after you make this breakthrough, after you get there, you find so much more understanding about happiness, joy, love, and the things that used to serve you, you find aren't worth doing anymore. Like they don't fulfill you anymore, and that is okay. So yes, right now, Shadow's telling me you're in a dark night of the soul, and that's a tough place to be, I know. But allow yourself to surrender to it. Allow yourself to surrender to it, and allow yourself to understand that this has purpose in it, even if it doesn't seem like there's purpose in it right now. Living light energy, see the beauty in life. I also really love how this card has to me it looks like a dandelion puff, and I literally just talked about the seeds. Living light energy is also that reminder that you are living light energy. And right now, what is why this dark night of the soul feels so rough is because the living light energy just wants to be pure, wants to shine, wants to be what it is 100%. But you have so many things that are dimming your light, that are keeping you from being your bright true self, and right now you're being asked to shed those things. So see the beauty in life. Understand too that there is beauty in this process that you're going through. And I don't say this lightly. Again, I've gone through like 3 or 4 of my own Dark Night of the Souls. And in the time, if someone told me that, I would tell them to shut the fuck up. This is rough. This is hard. They don't know anything. Trust me, get there, been there, done that. I'm not trying to make light of your situation. But in hindsight, once I made it through, I could see the beauty. And I could understand that in order for me to bloom and blossom into the new reality that is my life, I had to go through this transformation. So you're not being asked to be anything than what you already are. You already are living light energy. It's just, instead of seeing this time period that you're going through as a negative experience, as bad as something dark or evil, and dark isn't evil, I want to make that be known. Let yourself to see it as a beautiful thing. That doesn't make it easy. It just makes it beautiful. Secret temptation. Being led astray. With this card right now, the message that's coming through is that you are allowing yourself to be like, where temptation, whatever that temptation is no longer there to you. I also like how, like with this image, the person is like cracking underneath. And again, that just reminds me of that breakthrough, that clearing. What do I mean by like the thing that's tempting you is no longer going to tempt you? I don't know how much of my life I have dedicated to escapism, to allowing myself to just get lost into book after book, into video game after video game, into like binging on Netflix. And before Netflix was a thing, whatever TV show I could watch on the internet. Understand that secret temptation, being led astray, it is what it is. We have temptations. We allow ourselves to be led astray when we don't want to face a reality that we don't appreciate. And it's not that there's anything wrong with it. Like, yeah, there are negative consequences to it, but like, it's a normal thing to do is what I'm getting at. It's nothing you should beat yourself up for. And right now, you going through this dark night of the soul, you remembering that you are living light energy, and you allowing yourself to see that this is something that's going to help you, it's going to take away that secret temptation. And it's going to make it into something that you can mold into something that's beneficial and helpful. So, do I still like to play video games? Do I still like to get lost in books? Yeah. But do I lose weeks of my life to it anymore? No. I found a way to do it in amounts that are healthy, and amounts that are actually beneficial to me. I can pick up a book and put it down after a couple hours. That is healthy. I can play a video game for, an hour or two and then stop. That is healthy. It's about you finding moderation and you understanding that, like, right now, you're gonna have to drop something. It's part of this dark night of the soul, but something great is gonna come out of it. Energy signature. The past is in the present. I'm pretty sure every time I've used these cards in these videos, this one has come up repeatedly. And I don't know if I've only used this deck for shadow readings. I'm not sure, but what I'm getting at here is this is a repetitive message for a reason. Because you are finding yourself still living in outdated molds, doing outdated things, living under the expectation of outdated, defense mechanisms. Living under the expectation that outdated defense mechanisms are going to be beneficial to you, are going to help you, not realizing that those past outdated defense mechanisms, that those past things are actually creating boundaries and barriers and making your life harder. The past is in the present is showing me that you are allowing yourself to live a life that's led from... You're allowing yourself to live a life that is led from a truth that is no longer here. You're living from a life that may have been important for you to live 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even 30. I don't know how old you are. And at the time you needed to do that in order to live, to survive. But now, it's a completely outdated way of living. It's not supporting you in any way, and it's not allowing you to reflect the reality of the life you have now. So, yeah, right now you're being asked to shed an old identity, an old way of living. And it's going to be scary, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to feel tough. But as soon as you break through this, you're going to find beauty. You're going to find, I don't want to just say joy and happiness, because yeah, that's part of it. but I don't want it to feel like it's the end game if you don't feel it. Sometimes it takes time to feel the joy and happiness, but know that it's coming. I want to ask the cards, what has kept us in the past? What has kept us believing that we can't change and that the way that we're living is the only right way to live? Because, again, you're being asked to shed that. So the point of the, me pulling these tarot cards out is to help us understand, whoa, okay, that was a lot. I'm going to pull this one and this one, but these two, we're going to put to the side and see if they have reason. Let's fix this. All right, the first card, Temperance reverse position. So this straight up tells me that you have been trying to integrate, and this is probably why you're going through the Dark Night, to be honest, because you have been trying to make those changes. You've realized that, your behaviors of old are no longer serving you, so you've really been working to integrate that and pull that in. The thing is, though, right now, you're finding aggravation and frustration. Once you get through this Dark Night, once you allow yourself to surrender, you're going to find that the things that you were trying to integrate, trying to bring into, and start to do are going to happen much more naturally. And I don't just mean like this is going to be miraculously easy. I just mean you've already been doing the things and you've just been finding resistance, you've been finding difficulty, you've been finding blocks and obstacles. This shedding that you're going through is going to allow you to do those same things that you're already doing, but there's not going to be the resistance, there's not going to be the obstacles, and it's going to be so much more liberating for you. All right, Six of Cups, the past is in the present. And this is 100% what this card's about. It's that nostalgia card. It's that nostalgia trap. What I want to talk about with this card specifically, though, is there's the rumor and belief that things were easier in the past, that, things were better in the past. And here's the truth. It's not that they were easier. It's not that they were better. It's just you already are on the other side of it. You already know that you could overcome it because you've overcome it. The past was not easier then. It was just as difficult then as it is now. It's just now you know that you survived that, so you look at it with an easier sense of mind. This time that you're going through right now, maybe a couple days, maybe, months, maybe years, you're going to be like, oh, it wasn't as rough as I thought it was because of that nostalgia trap. Things were rough then. Things are rough now. You survived then. You're going to survive now. You're stronger than what you know. This is a chance for you to, again, relearn your strengths. Three of Swords in its reverse position, the Disappointment card. And I want to remind you that Swords is about your communication and your intellect. And here we are finding disappointment from expectations not being met. When it's in its reverse position, it's a clear understanding that the expectations that were put out were A, either clearly communicated, or B, we had the bar set way too high. What do I mean by having the bar set way too high? Easy example. You're trying to go into a diet and you're like, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. Outside of surgery, that's not realistic. And that's what I mean by you set the bar too high. It was an unrealistic expectation and you try to force it to happen, and it could never happen outside of something extreme. So understand that part of what you're going through is because you had hopes and dreams, and you're still clinging on to that initial hope or dream, even though its time has passed. Queen of Swords in her reverse position. So we're being real mean to ourselves. We're being real critical. We're being, super judgy and saying, you're not good enough. You're not great enough. You can't do this right. You can't do anything right. And it just needs to stop. That inner critic just needs to shh. Because that inner critic isn't doing anyone any favors. And the inner critic isn't even speaking truth. The inner critic is just running rampant because no one's putting it in its place. You're like, well, who's going to put it in its place? You. You're going to put it in your place. You're going to tell it to shush. And the easiest way for me to do that is to be like, okay, you can say all this stuff about me. Then how do I change that? How do I fix that? And if it gives answers like do better, be better, be like, no, those aren't real answers. Give me a real answer. Give me something I can do. And that's when your inner critic pretty much just shuts up. Because it realizes it doesn't have the answers. It's just a fan in the crowd going, boo! But it doesn't know anything about the screenplay, doesn't know anything about the props, doesn't know anything about what's actually happening in the arena. So, the inner critic, just tell it to shut. It's not important. I don't know which way this card was, and now it's sideways, so it's going to stay sideways. But let's get to the High Priestess in her reverse position. Because this is you not trusting your intuition. And maybe the lack of trust you've had towards your intuition has more to do with the fact that you haven't been listening to it and you've been not denying your intuition. What do I mean by that? When you get the subtle nudges, when you get the, I don't have a good feeling about this, you just shut it. You just tell it, nope, this is right. Think of it this way. Life has given you an internal GPS, okay? And there's times where the internal GPS tells you to turn left instead of going down the path that you know is 100% going to get you to your destination. But whenever it tells you to turn left, you're like, no, I'm not going to turn left. That doesn't make sense. And then you get stuck in a traffic jam. And now you're stuck for 3 hours when if you would have just taken that left path to get you to the more indirect route that might have just taken you 5 minutes longer, you found yourself stuck. Your intuition needs you to listen. Your intuition needs you to actually allow it to be heard in order for it to be something that's useful and that can help you map yourself. Because the more you deny your intuition, the less you use that muscle, the less you trust yourself. All right, this card, whether it was upright or reversed originally, I don't know. It turned sideways. So we're going to keep it as a sideways card. And what does that mean? Here we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant's coming through and saying that it's up to you to choose your path. If it was upright, I'd say you take a traditional path. If it was reversed, I'd say you take your own unique path, but this is sideways. So the Hierophant's coming in sideways, saying you get to choose your path. Do you want to take the traditional path, or do you want to create your own path? Both have its pros and cons. And the other thing is too, and you need to understand this, just because you choose one and then you go down that path and decide I don't like this anymore, doesn't mean you have to stick to it. You can pivot at any point. So if you decide to take your own path and be like, nope, this is too much for me to do on my own, I'm going to go traditional, fine, go traditional. And the reverse is true too. If you go traditional and you're like, nope, I don't fit into the status quo, then make your own path. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong, and it doesn't have to be black and white either. Just choose what you want to do. Make it your own life. This is your life to live. So the Hierophant coming sideways is kind of ironic, because to me, it's literally giving you the option. And I am going to pull these two cards. I'm going to pull this one first, though. We got the Page of Wands in its reverse position. Okay, I understand why I had these two separate now. Because pages are all about new experiences. And right now, what you're about to be going through, this is kind of an understanding of what to expect, is everything's going to feel clunky and everything's going to feel odd after this. Once you get yourself past this dark night, once you allow yourself to start feeling again and start just integrating the new understanding that you have, it's going to feel clunky and it's going to feel weird and it's going to feel like everything that you used to do just doesn't make sense anymore, and that's okay. This is a separate message from Shadow saying, hey, know that moving forward, things are going to feel a little off, and that's normal and that's part of the process. And then our next card, Six of Wands in its reverse position. That's beautiful because that's Shadow coming through and saying, hey, this is a victory. It feels small, it feels insignificant, but this is something worth celebrating. So allow yourself to celebrate when you make it through this. Be proud of yourself. Give yourself that acknowledgement. Because when the Six of Wands is in its reverse position, it's not about everyone being part of the celebration. It's about you celebrating. A lot of times the Six of Wands in its reverse position also talks about small wins. This isn't necessarily a small win. This is a big win. But it's a win that only affects you and that only you are going to be able to celebrate. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So, cute little message from Shadow helping you through this. Understand that the clunkiness is normal and understand that this is still something we're celebrating. I just want to get a little more information from Shadow. Mainly kind of to try to understand what's with this Dark Night of the Soul that you're going through. Like, what is to be expected on the other side, I think, is what I'm getting at here. So, Shadow, what is going on with this Dark Night of the Soul, and what can we expect on the other side? Straddling worlds, wandering between realms. Alright, so this is realistic. When you come from a Dark Night of the Soul, this is one of those things that for a little while you feel yourself like walking between two different worlds. What does that mean? It means that you don't really know what your new identity is yet, so you're still kind of figuring it out, but you know your old identity is no longer a part of you. So you just kind of feel like you're stuck in between, and it feels paradoxical, and it can feel a little discerning, and it's okay. It's part of the process. So Shadow's coming through and not saying that this is going to be your forever, just giving you that warning that that is 100% how it works. Curiosity, stranger. I love this right now because something that's not talked about a lot after you go through a Dark Night of the Soul is that sometimes you do feel strange to your own self. And there's two ways to handle it. You can get curious, which is the healthy way to handle it, or you can get real upset and you can try to fight to be that old version of you, even though none of it fits. Think of it like, so, okay, you've grown. I know it doesn't make sense for adults to grow, but just bear with me here. You went through the Dark Night of the Soul and now you've grown and your body is a completely different shape than what it used to be. And now you're trying to fit into your old clothes that no longer fit. And it's not that you got fat or thin or anything like that. The point of this is what I'm getting at is your shape is different. So the clothes were meant for one shape of you and now you're trying to fit into them and you're getting aggravated. And instead of allowing yourself to be curious to see what new clothes you can get that do fit your new body, you're just getting really mad and trying to force yourself into those old clothes. Let's find ourselves curious instead of trying to fit into something that's no longer right for us. Covenant, sacred contract. So this might be a hard message for some, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is one of those things that's saying that there is no way to avoid what you're going through right now. And I'm not saying that this was destiny. I'm not saying this was fate. I'm not saying that you don't have free will. You do have free will. What I am saying is, in order for you to grow into who you want to be, who you're meant to be, this is something you had to go through. But you only are going through this because you want it to be more you, if that makes sense. You are the one that planted that seed initially that's about to burst through. You're the one that planted the seed, and this is what happens when you plant the seed and water it and keep working towards it growing. This is just a natural part of the cycle. So it's not that this was destiny or this is fate or you don't have control of your life. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this is a natural consequence of you trying to get back to yourself, trying to get back to source. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. Consider it this way. When you plant a seed, okay, let's just really be very visual here. When you plant a seed, it's going to take whatever its natural courses are that it's meant to take. It's going to crack out of the seed, it's going to pop through the earth, and then it's going to do whatever it does in order to get it to bloom. You're the one that planted the seed. So right now you're trying to bloom and blossom. And this is part of that blooming and blossoming phase that gets you to be your true and authentic self. That's what I'm trying to say. This isn't a bad thing that's happening to you. It's honestly a good thing that you're going through this. It's just a natural part of the process. So don't think of it as punishment. Bold step further, the farther gate. All right, so I was talking about how the whole point of you getting through this is to help you get closer to yourself, and this is that confirmation. This is getting you closer to yourself. This is that bold step further. That further gate is you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Comfort zones aren't us being comfortable. Your comfort zone is honestly the amount of discomfort you're willing to tolerate. And if you need an example of what a comfort zone is, how many dishes are allowed to be in your sink before you wash those dishes? How much garbage is allowed to stack up in your garbage can before you take it out? That is a clear example of your comfort zone. because it's not that you're happy about the amount of dishes that are in the sink, but it's the fact that you can let it get so far and then you're like, okay, now I have to deal with it. So you getting out of your comfort zone is you working to, allow yourself to say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate this amount of discomfort anymore. I want less discomfort in my life. So I'm going to expand. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. You're expanding. Mindful. Groupthink. The message I normally get with this card's not coming through. But when I fully am understanding, this is a beautiful card and that's a beautiful picture. So let's talk about that. How there's just beauty, the trees and everything, but like there's still this darkness, okay? When your mind is full, it's one of those things where you yourself are allowing everything to take into consideration what it is that you do next, instead of just trusting that intuition and going with the flow. Groupthink isn't necessarily a good thing if it's not supporting you. What do I mean by that? Your first identity in groupthink is your family. And your family has dreams, aspirations, and hopes for you and what it is that they want you to do. If your family wants you to be a doctor, but being a doctor is not right for you, you're going to wear the identity of a doctor and fall into that groupthink mentality, only to find out that this isn't my group. And when you do that, you have to go through the shedding. If you're meant to be an artist, a musician, that's a whole different type of groupthink. So this card is coming through to remind you that there is beauty in this process. What I was talking about in the beginning, there is beauty in this process. But right now, we need to empty your mind so that way you can find your group, so that way you can find yourself, so that way you can be who you are. Community is important, yes. And that's what I normally get with this card, is I talk about community and prosperity and how things can, grow as a group. But right now, you need to find your group. And it's not that you have to go looking for them. They will naturally find you as you continue to be your authentic self. But this is about you trusting the process, surrendering, and letting yourself shed the old you so that way you can be the new you. And the more you allow yourself to be the new you, whatever that looks like, you're going to find your group. I promise. Let's just ask for some encouragement now at this point. Because what you're going through is a process. It's not a fun process. It's difficult. And surrendering is easier said than done. And if you've never surrendered, it's not easy to explain or tell someone how to surrender. Your first real lesson on what true surrender, healthy surrender is actually difficult. But you know what? You're going to figure it out and you're going to be able to move through. Hey, listen to your body and do what it is asking of you. That is honestly the best answer to how to surrender to yourself that I can find. And I love that this card popped up as I was asking that question. So yeah, through this, the easiest way to get through it is to listen to your body and do what it's asking of you. Even if it doesn't make sense to you. Let's just listen to our body. Find ways to lighten up and not take everything seriously. This is super important. Because when you're going through this, everything is going to feel so raw. Everything is going to feel so intense. If you can find ways to lighten the load and just to be like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal, it will make the process easier. Another way to actually surrender. What has your inner voice been asking you? Listen and act. So this is what I was talking about with this High Priestess card in her reverse position. Your intuition has been nudging you. It has been talking. You want to surrender? You need to listen to the inner voice. Not gonna lie, these cards are actually giving really good explanations for surrender. I'm kind of impressed. They're giving a better answer than I could have given. Clear your mental and physical clutter, not color. You will feel so much better. Okay, so this one isn't so much about surrendering. This is just practical advice. But it's real advice. And it's also, every time I've gone through a dark night, It's one of those things where it's like you feel out of control. Like you have no control of what's going on, and it's hard and it's rough and it's scary. So clean. That is something you can control. You do have control over your own environment. You can clean, you can get rid of garbage, you can do dishes, you can vacuum, you can rearrange furniture. If your house is already sparkling clean, you can rearrange furniture. Maybe also look to see what you have that's no longer serving you. Like what you go through your closet and purge clothes. I love to do this. This is like one of actually my most favorite things to do. Go through my closet and be like, okay, I haven't worn that in a year. I'm going to, donate that, and see what it is that you can get rid of. Clear your mental and physical clutter. If you can clear the physical clutter, it also helps you clear the mental clutter. And know that you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this and you're going to come out triumphant. It's obvious and understanding. Shadow's already told me that you have this ability, and we know this because we got the 6 of Wands in its reverse position. Know that whatever path you choose, it's going to be the right path for you. That if you go down that traditional path and you get the information that you need and then you decide to go down the individual path, that's fine. That's what most of us do anyway. Or if you go down the individual path and you're like, okay, this isn't working for me, and you choose a traditional path, that's fine too. This is about you coming back to you, and you're going to do it. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and unfortunately it means you have to go through a little bit of discomfort, and you can do this. I know you can, for 2 reasons. A, you made it to this point in the reading, and B, because you want to. There is some part in you that really, really wants to get back to this. And that part of you is the part of you that's going to help you succeed. That's all I got for you today. If you want to, say something in the comments about what you're going through, if you're looking for some encouragement, go ahead and put something in the comments. We can work with that. And you know what? I love you. You're amazing. You got this. And I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye-bye.